Good morning, everyone. It's me, KP Gimere. Let's begin today's class of English. And let's start with the syllabus first. All about the syllabus, that how the syllabus is designed for officer level English by Public Service Commission will be beginning from here. Let's start. English. Altogether in English course, you will be asked 20 marks. And this 20 marks of English is divided into 3 different categories. They are, number 1 is reading comprehension. So one reading text will be asked, which carries 5 marks. So under reading text, a passage will be given and where 5 different questions will be asking, and you have to answer. Especially in reading comprehension, the different type of text will be given. From there, only 5 questions will be asked. So true-false kind of question, inferential type of questions, and similarly you need to make some ordering there and some word kind of question relating to the same text. So this is one type of question. Number 2. Another one is vocabulary. So from vocabulary you will be asked 7 vocabularies. It means like 7 marks. Whenever we talk about vocabulary, from vocabulary, very powerful words, those which give like single meaning, let's say single words will be given, those words will be asked. And similarly antonyms, synonyms, or homophones and homonyms. So this sort of questions mostly will be asked in your vocabulary sections. And another one is syntactic ability. Syntactic ability. From syntactic ability means the structure of language. Generally we understand it is the grammar. Grammar is the universal rule of language, mostly. So dealing with the structure of language, this sort of questions will be asked, and it carries 8 marks. It means 8 different syntactic questions will be asked, and it will have 8 marks. So generally this is the syllabus of English, and most of you might have already known or you have gone through the syllabus. And here actually today we'll be beginning our class from syntactic ability, so about 8 marks. And from syntactic ability there are different grammatical persons, especially like agreement, tense aspects, and similarly like you will have transformation of sentences, voice, reported speech, modifiers, and many more. Like today we'll be beginning from one, either we'll be taking 2 or 1 or 2 grammatical items. Let's begin from syntactic ability first, because if we are a bit clear about syntactic ability, then we'll go to next vocabulary section, then after reading comprehension, because one supports other. Syntactic ability. From syntactic ability, you will be asked the questions, especially the questions about three different types of questions. These are like your question mostly from here. One is structural type of questions, odd one out type of questions, and exceptional type of questions. You will be asking these three different type of questions under syntactic ability. Here, structural means you need to go through the questions where some particular English language has its own structure, and you need to identify the particular structure, which one is correct and which one is not. We need to identify the particular structural focusing type of sentence. Similarly, next one, odd one out. Among the given question, one will be different type of question. We need to understand that odd one out and we need to take it out. And another one, exceptional, means we have to find out some of the questions, some of the words taking from the options, and we need to fill in the blanks. These three different type of questions will be asked under your syntactic ability kind of questions. So okay, let's begin from one grammatical person. Let's start with conditional sentence. Conditional sentences. This is also known as if sentence. Conditional sentence is also known as if sentence, because mostly this kind of sentences are beginning with if sentence. For example, if I study well, I will pass my exam. So this is one example of a conditional sentence or if sentence. So conditional sentence has two clauses. So you can see the sentence is divided into two sections. If I study well, comma, I will pass my exam. There are two clauses. So if clause and main clause. Some people prefer to say primary clause and secondary clause. Okay, this one is if clause and next one is main clause. So okay, students, let's start their types of conditional sentences here. So type 0 conditional sentence. There are altogether 4 different types of conditional sentences. They are type 0 conditional sentence, type 1 conditional sentence, type 2 conditional sentence, and type 3 conditional sentence. It means there are 4 different types of conditional sentence. Let's begin from type 1. Type 1 conditional sentences are those kind of conditional sentence which express the meaning as scientific facts and universal truths. Zero type conditional sentence always express the meaning like scientific facts or universal truths. For example, let's see the type 1 conditional sentence. If we heat water, it boils. Let's see here the example. If we heat water, it boils. It's universal truth. Whenever we heat water, it boils. That's why here, let's see. If clause, you can see this side. If we heat water, you can see the verb heat, and similarly in main clause you can see it boils. So if you see the structure in both sides, if there is verb 1, you can see verb 1 in if clause and verb 5 in main clause. You can see this is the structure of zero type conditional sentence. It means if clause, simple present, and main clause, simple present. If you see this structure in your sentence, this is zero type conditional sentence. We can give another example as well, like most often the time, as it is scientific fact, main clause takes verb 5, mostly verb 5. And whenever in your exam, if you see both section, simple present and simple present, this is zero type conditional sentence, and it is structurally correct one. You need to identify in your exam in such way. For example, we can take another example. If we throw a blown balloon, it flies into sky. This is another example. If we put an iron rod into water, it sinks. So these are some. Next, let's see another one example. If we go higher, it is cooler. If we go higher, it is cooler. If clause, we can see here is verb 1, simple present, and it is cooler. In main clause, you can see is as used simple present. So this is zero type conditional sentence because it is expressing the meaning universal truths. Okay, I will be focusing a little bit in Nepali also. I'm getting feedback. सेन्टेन्सहरु जुन सेन्टेन्सले साइन्टिफिक फ्याक्ट र युनिभर्सल ट्रुथ्स फोकस गरिरहेको हुन्छ, मिनिङ दिइरहेको हुन्छ, त्यस्तो सेन्टेन्सलाई हामी जीरो टाइप कन्डिसनल सेन्टेन्स भन्छौं. So we can see one example. If we go higher, it is colder, or if we heat water, it boils. So this is zero type conditional sentence. Let's go to type 1 conditional sentence. Type 1 conditional sentence. Type 1 conditional sentence often expresses the meaning like possibility, possibilities or probabilities. Possibilities or probabilities. त्यस्तो conditional sentence जसले सम्भावित मिनिङ, सम्भावना बोकेको मिनिङ एक्सप्रेस गर्छ, त्यस्तो शब्द दिन्छ, आई मिन अर्थ दिन्छ भने त्यस्तो सेन्टेन्सलाई टाइप 1 सेन्टेन्स भनिन्छ. फर एक्जाम्पल, लाइक लेट्स राइट one example over here. If we study well, we will pass the PSC, Public Service Commission exam. So, okay, let's see here. If we study well and we will pass PSC exam. You can see here in if clause you can see study. Verb 1, it means simple present, and in main clause you can see will. It's a simple future. So if you see this structure, it is type 1 conditional sentence. So structure is always simple present and simple future. If you see this structure, there must be something. If there is blank in this section, and if you see simple future this side, there must be obviously verb 1, or either if you see verb 1 this side and blank over here, it will be simple future. And if that meaning is giving like meaning like possibilities or probabilities. परीक्षामा राम्रोसँग पढियो भने लोकसेवा परीक्षा पास हुन्छ, यो सम्भावना हो, right? That's why if those sentences carrying possibilities meaning are often known as type 1 conditional sentence. So let's give another one example. If I drive slowly, I will reach my office late. If I drive slowly, I'll reach my office late. So okay, here it means you can see simple present. here in if clause, and in main clause you can see I will, simple future, will plus verb 1, you can see simple future. If I drive slowly, I will reach my office late. मैले बिस्तारै ड्राइभ गरे भने अफिस म ढिलो पुग्छु, सम्भावना हो. That's why this is type 1 conditional sentence expressing the meaning, probabilities and or possibilities. So in your exam, so you can see in the place of will, there might be another options also. In the place of will, can and may also can be used. These two words, can and may. For example, if I drive slowly, I can reach my office late, or I may reach my office late. These are also the optional words which also can be used in type 1 conditional sentence. Okay, let's go to next type 2 conditional sentence. Type 2 conditional sentence expresses the meaning like impossibilities, or improbabilities. For example, if I were a bird, I would fly. So look at here. In if clause, you can see simple past, and main clause, you can see would. So this is, if I were a bird, I would fly. But I'm not actually, that's why it is impossible kind of things. We can see the same sentence that we had written in type 1, we can write over here. If we were teacher, we would teach very slowly. Or another one example, if I were the PM, means Prime Minister, if I were the Prime Minister of Nepal, I would solve the unemployment problem of the nation. So let's see here these three examples of type 2 conditional sentence. If I were a bird, I will fly. म चरो भएको भए उड्ने थिए तर म चरा होइन, that's why it's impossible. Next, if I were a teacher, I would teach very slowly. यदि म टिचर भएको भए ढिलो पढाउँथे. If I were, you can focus here simple present, simple past, and would teach. Would plus verb 1. You can see over here. If I were the Prime Minister of Nepal, म यदि नेपालको प्रधानमन्त्री भएको भए, I would solve the unemployment problem of Nepal. म नेपालको बेरोजगारी समस्या solve गर्ने थिए. I mean, like, you have to see only that whether in if clause, if you see simple past, and main clause would plus verb 1, this is type 2 conditional sentence. So the structure is always, we have to go through the structure. If clause, simple past, and main clause would plus verb 1 generally. But what happens is, like, this might be at the beginning and next one also goes back, like I would fly if I were a bird. In such way also the question can be asked. But if you can see this structure, this is obviously type 2 conditional sentence. In the place of would, it can be also used like could or might. So would, could, might plus verb 1 in main clause and simple past in if clause. If you see this structure, we need to go through this structure only, then we feel very easy for writing the answer. Okay. So let's go to type 3 conditional sentences. Type 3 conditional sentences. Yes, you can see, you can use should also, but mostly would, could, and might, and sometimes should also would can be also used here in sentence. You are right. That's a wonderful question and your queries. Type 3 conditional sentence. Let's see. This expresses the meaning hypothetical. Hypothetical or kind of imagination only. Type 3 conditional sentences. Those sentences which express the meaning of hypothetical or kind of imagination, this type of sentence are called type 3 conditional sentence. Let's see one example. The same type 1 question you can change into type 2 and type 2 into type 3. You will learn very easily. This is the best way to learn conditional sentence in perfect way. For example, if I had studied well, I would have passed the PSC exams Okay, let's see this example. If I had studied in if class and I would have passed the exam, but I actually did not study well. मैले परीक्षामा राम्रोसँग पढेको थिए भने लोकसेवाको परीक्षा पास गरेको हुने थिए. This is expressing the meaning in Nepali in such way. So that here only we can focus had plus verb 3. It means like if you see the structure of past perfect. Past perfect means had plus verb 3, and next structure like would would have plus verb 3. If we see this structure, this is expressing meaning, a kind of hypothetical meaning, and this is type 3 conditional sentence. Had plus verb 3, it is structure, and would have plus verb 3. So this often consists this one. And let's see, I already said in the place of would, we can use like, it can be used might and could as well. And people are asking questions, should? Yes, sometimes should as well, but often these three words would, might, could are used, and sometimes should also, but should generally does not express the meaning for that. And it does not mean that we cannot use should. We can use should also. You are obviously right. So here, under syntactic ability, so this is one type of, let's say, a grammatical person, and this is conditional sentence or if sentence. Or these are four different types of conditional sentences. Let's focus another one example. If Sita had gone to picnic, she could have enjoyed a lot. You can see this structure. Had verb 3 means past perfect in if clause, and next she could have enjoyed. Could have plus verb 3 is used. So here, just focus this structure only. Past perfect, would have plus verb 3, would have plus verb 3, or might have plus verb 3. If you see this structure, then obviously in your exam, so it will be asked in such way. For example, here this part will be blank. If Sita to picnic, she could have enjoyed a lot. And in option it will be had gone, or was. And if you just see here could have plus verb 3, obviously had gone, we need to bring over here. Had gone. So I just want to recap the class, just talking about four different types of conditional sentences. There are zero type conditional sentence. Okay. So here Zero type conditional sentence often expresses the meaning like scientific fact and universal truth. जस्तो सेन्टेन्सहरु त्यो सेन्टेन्स जसले साइन्टिफिक फ्याक्ट अथवा युनिभर्सल ट्रुथ टाइपको मिनिङ जेनेरेट गरिरहेको छ भने त्यस्तो किसिमको सेन्टेन्सलाई जीरो टाइप कन्डिसनल सेन्टेन्स भनिन्छ. जीरो टाइप कन्डिसनल सेन्टेन्स both parts simple present and simple present, main clause always mostly verb 5. This is zero type conditional sentence. And type 1 conditional sentence means expressing the meaning, possibilities or probabilities. For example, if I study well, I'll pass my exam. If I run faster, I may fall down. Okay, these are the example of type 1 conditional sentence. In type 1 conditional sentence, if clause simple present and main clause simple future. But in the place of will, we can also use can and may because these two words express possibilities. And type 2, I'm getting a question here. I did not understand clearly difference between type 2 and type 3. So type 2 conditional sentence express impossibilities, but type 3 conditional sentence express hypothetical. And you just go through the structure like let's see the structure of type 2 and type 3 only. Type 2 and type 3. Type 2. If I studied well, I would pass my exam. This is type 2 and type 3. Type 3 sentence, let's see. If I had studied well, I would have passed my exams. So let's see, this is difference between type 2 and type 3. If I studied in if clause, if you see past, simple past and would plus verb 1. But in type 3, had studied and would have plus verb 3. You can see this one is expressing the meaning, impossibilities, and this is a kind of just imagination only, or kind of hypothetical, imaginary kind of meaning is generating from this sentence. So where just focus type 2 conditional sentence simple past and would, could, might. If you see this structure, this is type 2, and if you see like past perfect and in if clause and would, could, might plus verb 3 in main clause. If you see that, this will be type 3 conditional sentences. Live देखिएन sound मात्रै छ. Question is like this. Okay. So thank you, students. This is like one part of like grammatical item we focus, that is conditional sentence, or some people prefer to say if sentence, and we need to understand in such way. So dear students, my request for those candidates who are being the candidates, or who are the candidates of PSC examination, you just go through the structure only, this sort of structure only. It is very simple. I'll give you 2 clues. So I just want to give you 2 clues for understanding it in very clear way. So first, change type 1, accept your type of conditional sentence from type 1 to type 2 and type 3. So start writing. First formula to pass PSC exam is practice a lot in writing. Practice, practice and practice only in writing. Okay, only in writing. So students, change type 1 into type 2 and again into type 3. You will understand conditional sentence very clearly. So okay, so let's go to some additional questions. Due to time constant, I cannot write here like structural and urban kind of questions, but I can give you the exceptional or fill in the blanks type of question over here. Let's write number 1. If we put an iron rod into water, it will sink, sinks. If she did softly, we can understand well. Options: speak, speaks, will speak. Number 3, if I a car, I would reach on time. Was, had, had got. Number 4. If they me could have helped them. This is they. Had made, had okay, let's see the questions. So let's see the questions and answer over these questions. Number 1, if we put an iron rod into water, it will sink or sinks. So Vishnu Gorathoki, yes, you are right. Number 1, sinks. Why it is sinks? Kameswar, yes, 1 sinks. Number 1 sinks. You are obviously correct because this is zero type conditional sentence and it is expressing the meaning. Scientific facts. That's why sinks. Let's go to number 2. If she did it softly, we can understand well. Speak, speaks, will speak. Number 2. Here, number 2. This number 2 is generating the meaning possibilities. That's why we have to use if she speaks. This is number if she speaks. Speaks softly, we can understand well because here speaks simple present and we can understand. This is expressing the meaning possibilities. Let's go to number 3. If I didn't a car, I would reach on time. So here, so if I was a car, if I had a car, if I had got a car. So here you can see would plus verb 1 this side means it is obviously type 2 conditional sentence, and here so we need to use so had. If I had a car, I would reach on time. So number 4, if they didn't me, you can see could have helped, would have plus verb 3, could have plus verb 3, might have plus verb 3. If you see this part, and here we have to supply past perfect, and you can see which one is past perfect. Had met. If they had met, met me, I could have helped them. You need to answer in such way. Students, in your exam, in this side also it will be blank and you need to supply others. For example, I did them. it will be given there and in your exam. Would help, will help, or would have helped. These sort of options will be given if they had met. If you see past perfect, obviously here will be would have plus verb 3, and being sure by shouldn't, you need to choose the last option, would have plus verb 3. So dear students, thanks a lot for today's class. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time. Thank you. Have a good day and practice a lot. Thank you.